Good morning, friends, or afternoon, depending on when you are catching us here on the Unbreakable Life Journey. Well, we are just days, and I am meaning days away from our final Unbreakable Women's Conference of the year. And if you have been to one of our conferences, you know that there is so much energy in the room, excitement, transparency, vulnerability, all of the things that women go through to empower you to have your Unbreakable Life's journey. And today, our special guest that we have on the recording with us is my new friend, Tristan, who recently moved to Austin. She's in the real estate world. She's also into health and fitness and really empowering women through those skills, but also her story. And you know, stories are what we are all about here at Unbreakable Women's Conference. So I do not want to take up any more time because I want to bring this beautiful friend on the stage with us today. But I got to say it one more time. You have days, just days to grab your ticket to join us at the final event for Unbreakable 2024. Well, Tristan, we are so excited to have you with us today.
Yay.
It is so great to meet you, another friend out of Austin, Texas, who loves empowering women. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm really happy to be here, and I'm so excited to meet everybody at the conference. It will be my first time attending this conference, and I get to meet all these wonderful women that are interested in empowerment and telling their story and hearing other people's story and doing what I personally love to do the most, which is connecting. Like, I just love to connect with other people, have genuine conversations with them. And so I'm really excited, and I hope everybody watching comes up and says hi to me. My name is Tristan, and I am a realtor and a mom here in Austin, and I live in the Westlake kind of area. I came out here very recently. I went through a divorce, and I kind of had to start my life completely over again. And so I went from a 15-year career in fitness and nutrition and public speaking, and I've transitioned successfully into real estate, and I do residential, commercial, land and ranch, lease, buy, sell. So whatever you guys need, I am available. I am here. Yeah. I have two little girls, 7 and 4, Wilder and Delilah, and we're just making it happen here in Austin.
Oh, I love it. You know, I feel like the people that are going to connect with us at Unbreakable are just like that last sentence, making it happen. You know, this event is really for women who want to take back their power and live their life to the fullest. And, you know, as we were chatting before we got on the stage, Tristan shared with me something, and I want her to share it with you a little bit. She said to me, "You don't know who is watching you." And that was a piece of the transition in her life that propelled her to want to bring her empowerment to the next level. So Tristan, can you talk about how important it is that those younger versions are watching you, right? Your little girls and who else? So tell us about that. Tell us what that means to you.
A huge part of my self-discovery journey is if something makes me uncomfortable or if I disagree with something, it is my duty to look at it and ask myself why. Because if we're avoidant about a particular area of our life, then there's no way that we could possibly grow. We can't avoid something that scares us or that bothers us, irritates us, whatever. And I was already habitually doing that because of my long fitness and nutrition career. And a lot of my clients, you know, I've worked with thousands of women changing their bodies. And so many people, it was like they were avoidant. They were avoidant of how they felt in their bodies, and they weren't embodied. And so much of the work I was doing was, it was about weight loss, or it was about, you know, getting down to a certain size or wanting to feel good at your wedding. But at the end of the day, it really all was about becoming embodied, right? And really understanding that you taking over power over your body and taking power over your health is the most essential thing in your life. And so many people were avoidant of that. It's so much easier to go and have fun and keep going out to dinner and really avoiding that part in the morning or something when you're getting ready, when you really are having like all those negative feelings about your body. And so that was so much of my work, right? Was forcing people to be like, no, let's talk about what you're avoiding. Let's look at that, right? And ironically, that's kind of how I transitioned into this part of my career. Because while that will always be a big part of me, the thing that I was avoiding and the thing that I had to look at in my divorce was my relationship with money, my relationship with wealth. And I kind of had this really great thing going in my marriage where I could be a wife and a mother. And then, certain months I could make X amount of dollars when we needed it, or it would go for vacations or extra school clothes or, whatever the case may be. But I wasn't financially responsible for an entire household. And I feel like that fear alone kept me in a marriage that I knew wasn't healthy for me. And making that transition, making that jump, and finally being like, no, girl, let's look at what you're avoiding. Why are you afraid of this? And really breaking it down. And yeah, part of that was I wanted to mother my own children. I have little girls. So the idea of, having them being raised by somebody else, that was terrifying me. I couldn't see that I had other options at that point. So that, along with the money component of like, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to pay a mortgage? Really forced me to kind of get uncomfortable and think about like, what is next for me? And that is how I transitioned into real estate, because the only surefire way to create generational wealth in this country is through real estate.
Well, I think that is a beautiful realization that you had to come through. And I love how you said, I couldn't see another way. And Tristan, I feel like one of the things that happens in our lives is that we can't see as far as our boundaries are, right? Whether it's a mental boundary or whatever. But when you take the first step, all of a sudden your vision is expanded just enough to take the next step. So what did you find for yourself? Okay, because real estate can be a consuming thing potentially, right? There's time consumption involved with that. So what did you find as you took your next step?
So I was a competitive bodybuilder for a really long time. And, I coached other women into full life transformations, and men, but mostly women. I'm a girl's girl. Okay. So if I can help another woman out, that's what I'm going to be doing with my time. But because of my background in the coaching space and the bodybuilding space and fitness, I know how to focus on a goal, and I know how to like be razor like sharp focused on a goal. And I don't need to see anything else. And I can somehow, we're women, we can have 85 tabs open in our brain at one time. And it's actually more comfortable for us to multitask. So it's like once I chose like, this is what I'm going to find what's next for me. Right. Then it was just a matter of like looking at all my options and kind of seeing what was out here, and I was really spinning my wheels. I spent through the process of my divorce, I spent a good year kind of looking at what else is out here. What can I do? How can I, make this work as a single mother? And then I had a girlfriend that lived in Austin, and she was a single mom, and she had just broken up with her co-parent, and she was trying to figure it out on her own. And ironically, she was somebody who had sponsored me. She owned a bunch of nutrition supplement stores in California, and she had sponsored me as an athlete. And so she understood me and knew my work ethic, and we had developed a friendship. And she was like, why don't you come visit me in Austin? Why don't you see what Austin's about? And I was like, okay, so I came and I visited Austin, left the kids for a couple days, came out, and really kind of had a really solid conversation with her about business and what is she doing and what does this look like. And she was like, I'm not going to lie. This business is all consuming. You are going to feel like you're a lawyer with how much law that you have to learn. Sure. In a short amount of time. And she's like, but there's opportunity here. And with your work ethic, Tristan, and how hard you go after something, if anybody can start from scratch and make this happen, it's you. Wow. And I was like, okay. So I went back to California, and in 3 months I enrolled in like a, real estate school, the best real estate school I could find, which is Champions. It's through Texas. I got my Texas real estate license and got through all of my courses in 3 months. And I told my ex-husband, like, I'm moving to Austin. I'm doing this, and you can come, or maybe the kids can come see during summer. But like, I'm doing this. Like, this is my only way that I know this is my way. Yeah. And I took a really big risk, and he was like, okay, I'll go. And like, let's figure out how to make a new version of a family for ourselves, which was our vision originally during the divorce. I'm very fortunate to have an ex-husband who focuses primarily on the well-being of the children. Thank you. But yeah, so we moved out here and now we live 3 doors down from each other and we're raising our 2 little girls in a new way.
Wow, that is so cool. So many pieces to that story.
I know.
So many beautiful pieces. But the one that stands out the most to me, Tristan, is the power of community, the power of having sisterhood, somebody that would pour belief into you, right? And one of our pillars in the Unbreakable Life journey is community. In fact, we have a whole panel at this conference where we've got women who I know you're going to love meeting that are community creators. And they are women that have just spent time creating opportunities for others to grow. And that's what we need so many times in life, you know. I love you talked about women's empowerment and creating community because I feel like there's such an opportunity, especially, you know, obviously for somebody like you that is very focused, very determined, very accomplished in many areas. There's opportunity for people to be jealous and catty and maybe even not want to see your success, but you don't focus on those people. You focus on the ones that are going to cheer you on and that you can, you know, share that experience with. So for somebody that maybe needs a girlfriend to pump them up, what would you say to them about the power of sisterhood?
Oh, girl, I could talk about this forever. Okay. Well, here's the thing, you know, and we put so much emphasis on family, and I will never knock family. But if you are one of the very small percentage of people that your family are your people, congratulations. But for a lot of us, we are going to be creating our family through the relationships we build through our adulthood and through our life, right? A lot of us don't have those girlfriends that we've had since first grade. Great if you do, but if you do, they probably live across the country or something, right? So it's like it is our job to kind of go out there and create that support system for ourselves, putting ourselves out there, making ourselves vulnerable, finding our I don't like using this term, but finding your tribe. I like finding your village. I like that. Finding your village, you know? And for me, I've always just relied on friendships. I'm like a friend collector, I think. I have friends all over the place. And when I am with you and I am in the presence of that friend, it's like I am just all in. And then I can also be that way with somebody else. And I think that there's nothing more beautiful than a friendship that you form with another woman. Like nobody else is going to have your back more than a friend that you form in adulthood, and you guys see each other and you guys are at like the same point of your life.
Yeah, that's so smart and so good. And I love what you talked about with your friend from Austin that brought you here and really pumped you up and empowered you to make that next step. She was going through a season in life like yours, right? That you guys had that commonality, you had that common ground, you had something that connected you even deeper than your work experiences, right? I love that. The other thing, let's see, that you talked about that I really grabbed onto was with earlier in the conversation when you talked about health. You know, health is the fifth pillar for our Unbreakable Life journey, because I do believe that we have to discover who we are and the uniqueness of us to know our health potential, right? And to not just pick up one, you know, quote unquote diet or whatever if we don't know who we are, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, we've got to go to our mindset and what is our thinking around that? And what are our beliefs around that? Do I even believe that I can get healthy? Right. But you talked about health being such an important thing, and that cascades mind, body, and spirit. And so as you have come to Austin and you're getting connected and you're putting your feet down and really solidifying your place here, how are you honoring all of that with all of the craziness that you have going on?
So I'm fortunate in that fitness and nutrition is such a solid part of my lifestyle that I don't even think about it. It's like I belong to a gym here, and I'm already like a pillar at that gym, you know. And I got a gym with really good childcare, and I suck every minute out of that childcare. But for me, I cannot be in a place like for real estate. and everybody, I think there's probably going to be a lot of entrepreneurs in the room. I'm going to presume, because if you're an entrepreneur, you're probably somebody that's very into empowerment because we need to hype ourselves up all the time to keep going. But if you're an entrepreneur, you're not working an 8-hour day. You're working a 15-hour day, but it feels slightly less painful because it's yours. It's like your baby. And I cannot, I don't let a text. I mean, we this is our first time meeting. It's for this interview, like face to face. We've been communicating email and text. How I am with you is how I am with everybody. I mean, how you do one thing is how you do everything. There's not a text that goes by that I don't respond to in 4 minutes. And I do that with every single client, every single person in my life. And I'm also trying to be present for my children when my children are around. And I'm also trying to take care of myself. And I cannot be all things to all people and do it the way that I want to do, which is with excellence, if I don't have that hour at the gym. Like, I just can't, right? Yeah. And now, am I going to have it every day? No. But on the days I do have it, I'm making the most of it. And on the days I don't have it, you better believe I'm like making sure I'm eating my salad. I'm staying hydrated, because so much of health, fitness, and nutrition is like this mental piece. Yeah. That if you aren't taking care of yourself, it like eats at you. Like, it eats at you. So it's better just to check it off the list. Even on days you can't work out, at least make sure that you're doing a little something. You're walking, or you're hydrating, or you're getting your vitamins in, or you're eating the salmon in the salad. Like, do something on the checklist that's just for your health and fitness, because that just correlates right back to your mental health, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Love it. And one more thing I want to bring up, because I think this is so big. I was visiting with a friend yesterday who is real excited about the UnBreakable journey, and she's excited about coming to the conference, and she's excited because she's about to start the process. She's got a couple of years, but she's a forward thinker, starting the process of retiring from corporate America into being a solopreneur. And she and I were chatting, and she says, something that's always been a challenge to me, and I know you're going to have a great answer for this, is goal setting. She said, I just don't know like where to even start with goal setting, probably because I've always just kind of worked for a job and they created those goals for me. So Tristan, health is all about goal setting. Eating right, getting your body to the right place is all about goal setting. Starting that new business in real estate is all about goal setting. Helping people find their dream home is goal setting, right? Mm-hmm. So can you tell me how you would help somebody kind of paint a picture around just maybe one small goal and how they can start that process?
So, I mean, I don't know how woo this crowd is, but I'm very much like a God, source, universe, spirit kind of person, right? And we talk about manifestation a lot, and there's been a lot of talk about what exactly manifestation is. And I'm very excited that I hear a lot of people speaking about manifestation in the proper context now, which is we have a vision at the end. Right. We have a goal at the end. So say she wants to start a pet grooming business. Not that this is it, but she wants to start a pet grooming business. So she needs to see herself at the end. What is the ideal circumstance of this pet grooming business? What does it look like? Is it mobile? Is it in a stable, stationary kind of place? What shopping center is that? Where would she park? Where would she drive to? What does the truck look like? How many stations does it have? What's her billing like? Is it just her? Is it you're creating this vision from the large vision? You're writing it down. Write it down. I'm very big on like pen to paper, actually writing something down. There's like something that goes off in the back of your brain when you actually take a pen to paper. It's scientifically proven that you're firing these neurons that don't fire if you're typing it in. So even with all of my goal setting, and it's so funny that you're talking about this because I actually was like a goal setting coach, and I marketed that was like a service that I offered. So
I love it.
But you write it down, okay? And then from there, you can see all these different elements that are needed for this one goal. I want to start a pet grooming business. That's one sentence. That's one goal. But Now you have it written down. Now you're seeing, now you're creating the vision. Now you're taking it out. Now you're thinking flooring. Now you're thinking employees. Now you're thinking everything, right?
Yeah.
From there, you have the next step down, right? Well, if I'm going to do that, what's it going to take to get that? If I'm going to do, so you're working backwards. And I will say that if you can start with having an end vision and a step one, it's very easy to fill everything out along the middle. And what's step one? Well, step one is having the desire. You're creating the desire. So the universe is already saying, yes, okay, let's get you there, right? And step two is creating a business plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and that actually helps. Creating that business plan will help you actually with the final step, because you're going to see everything that you need to fill in.
Yeah.
But I think also too, I mean, I think it's so good to have these like long-term goals. But they're not as good as having short-term goals. And I feel like science would support that, because, you know, if you want to start something,
I need to have that momentum going. Yeah.
Yes. Like if you want to start something in 2 years, okay, that's cool. But what do you want to do 6 months from now? Like, it's not really, it's so far out in your universe. Like, yes, let's put that out there. That's great. But like, what's happening 6 months from now? What's happening 3 months from now? Those, whatever happening now, whatever goals are tangible now, and they should always feel just a little bit like, yeah, like, yes, I can do that, but it's going to be a little bit of work. That's kind of how you want that. And that's
something. Yeah.
It's the difference between a goal and a task, right? So a goal is something that we're going to have to shift a little bit of our energy for, shift a little bit of our time for. We're going to have to become something just a little bit different to accomplish it. We're not there yet, right? A task is like a to-do. And it takes a bunch of tasks to accomplish that goal.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Love it, love it, love it. And I love that you talk about all of the pieces, all of the details, because when you can see it, you can't unsee it. You know, I used to be a little envious of my husband because he is such a visual person. And I used to think, like when we bought our building in Taylor for our other business, he walked in this building and it was this horrible looking building, like a mechanic's shop. It was horrible. And we were going to bring our company in there. I'm like, there is no way. Right. And he walks in and it's like, he could see all the things on the walls. He could see the fireplaces. He could see all the things, right? He could just see it. And I'm like, I can't see that. But when it's your vision, you can see it. And that's the power, I think, sometimes of protecting your vision, because just because somebody else can't see what you see doesn't mean that you can't have what you desire, right? And I think a lot of times we get that vision like he did, and then we've got our wife over here, aka me, saying, I don't see that, right? And so somebody can stop us from actually walking towards that vision. So one thing I would add, the only thing I would add would be protect your vision. Protect it and maybe even fight for it a little bit, because it's worth it. If you can see it, it's yours, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so interesting because, you know, we hear this term all the time, like speak it into existence.
Yeah.
And I've always felt like whenever I was working towards a title, like a bodybuilding title or something, I would always like kind of work quietly and silently, you know, and people would kind of start to be like, oh, what's happening with you? What's going on with your, you know, you're shifting, what's going on with your body? Because in your off season, when you're a bodybuilder, you like gain a bunch of weight, you know, you're like trying to put on mass, and then you start to shred down, you know, and I would just kind of like keep my head down, be working out, you know, and people start saying, but until I was ready, my voice was ready to say, I'm actually competing again. Like, and this is the date I'm doing it on. I would hold it. You know, and kind of the same thing with my real estate journey. It's like, you know, I was holding on to that until I really could know that I had boots on the ground. This was happening. I was enrolled in school. This move was happening. Like I was going to do this. So protect your vision and hold on to it. And you're telling yourself, like, I'm hatching a little baby right now. I'm sitting on my little egg, right? And then I'm going to tell people about that egg when I really know and I'm really ready. And I feel like is some kind of power in that as well.
Oh, that's so good. I love, love, love that. There's a book that there's an author that my husband loves, Joshua Metcalf. And one of the books that he wrote that is my husband's favorite is Chop Wood, Carry Water. And it's about falling in love with the process of becoming great. But the other book that I love is Win in the Dark. right? We're winning in the dark. We're doing the work in the dark. We don't have to make all the noise about it. We don't have to, in a social world where everything is online, we don't have to be that way. In fact, it's probably better to win in the dark so you can get those small wins. And then when you're ready, you can show up, right? And nothing against sharing things. I believe in sharing things because you want connectivity, you want connection, all those things. But sometimes you've got to protect it so you can build it and so you can build your beliefs around it as well.
I also think it's so important to show tripping and falling along the journey. Like once you've hatched your egg and you're speaking into existence or you're being public about it, really just, I think we as a society need to keep moving in the direction of continuing to be, just speaking to what you're saying online, just being more vulnerable. I just did a video the other day with no makeup on because you guys are not going to believe this. But on my child's first day of school, they start school at 7:40. They lock the door at 7:40. Do you know what time my alarm went off? 7:33, or that's when I woke up. 7:33. I slept through 2 alarms. I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody in the car, we gotta go. First day of 2nd grade, walking shame. Happened the second day again. Woke up at 6 a.m. They locked the door at 7:40. I got her on campus at 7:41. So and this is like, I'm a pretty together person. Like I rest in the knowing of that. Do you know what I mean? But here I am having like a very human moment. And I feel like it's through me, like showing myself, my true self, and that, it's not going to be perfect all the time. We're going to empower others to realize like,
they don't have to.
You don't have to. You don't have to have it figured out all the time. You just, you know what you do? You just get up and try on the 3rd day. Today was the 3rd day.
How'd you do? I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, I have a feeling that we could literally talk forever. And I would love that. However, I know we have things to do and I've got a conference to prepare for. But Tristan, I want to say thank you for partnering with us at UnBreakable Women's Conference. I'm excited to get to meet you and to see your energy in person. And our conference attendees actually get to hear from you at lunchtime on the stage. So that'll be amazing. But one final thought, if you had a final thought you would want to share with our UnBreakable online community and those that may or may not be able to come to the conference, what would you share today?
Well, honestly, I don't have anything super profound to say. I just want to invite people to connect with me if that's okay. So I'm on social media. I have a personal account that's Tristan__ATX. I also have a real estate page where you can see all of my showings and my cool things I'm doing with people. I feel very, very passionate about not only helping first-time homebuyers, women, female, and marginalized people, getting them into their first home and really helping them build wealth, create wealth. It was something that was so important to me, is to really understand how to create generational wealth for my own babies and myself, and moving into retirement. Like, what are those years going to look like? And so please reach out to me if you have any questions or something that you're curious about. I also host 2 things. I host a book club that I started because I'm a nerd and I love reading. And that is the Ladybird Literary Society. And you can find that on Instagram as well. And then for all of my fellow female golf curious women who like to golf and drink wine, the 2nd Thursday of every month is called Spill the Tea. And please come. Golf, indoor golf, air conditioning, wine tasting, socializing, making friends. I'm real, like, that's what it's all about, is making friends. So please find me and let's connect.
Oh, I love that. Love it. I love golf curious. I am curious about golf.
You gotta come. You gotta come.
That would be
you can
so
buy my
fun.
clubs if you don't have any.
Yeah, awesome. I have to find the kid size because I'm only 4'10".
Are you? You're a mini person.
I am.
I could put you in my pocket.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, Tristan, thank you again so much. It has been a pleasure to get to visit with you and to hear your story and, to go beyond business a little bit, because, so many times the business hat is the only hat people see. But when they get to see all of you, that's how they know, okay, that's my person, right? So,
yeah. And real estate is personal. Like buying a house, buying a building, leasing a building, buying a rent, like all of those things are giant transactions. So I kind of feel like that's one of the reasons I was made for real estate, is because like I'm a real person and I will connect with you, and I take this just as seriously as you do. It's a personal thing, right?
So they got to know you.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. Well, we will see each other in person in less than a week. So, friends, join us, meet Tristan, come to the Unbreakable Women's Conference. If you're not able to attend, jump on the online community. We'll post that in the comments and all of Tristan's contact information and those special events. But thank you all for watching and joining us today. Until we see you again, go out and continue building your unbreakable life. Bye.
Thank you so much, Teresa.
Thank you.